This is really about AI and whether it could actually accelerate SDG achievement and progress, and or whether AI can actually hinder some of the sustainable development goals globally. So AI for good. And I'm so glad that Patricia, the next speaker, will be also, diving deep into the AI ethics. Hopefully, you will find both presentations useful. So it's 2050, and the world is advancing in technology, but we seem to be also neglecting important aspects related to diversity and inclusion. A lot of the work done around these topics is really focused on checking the boxes, especially when there are projects related to inclusion of women or vulnerable groups. You usually count the heads and not really focus on actual inclusion. So Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, can you tell us in the chat box whether you have heard of these SDGs before, the 17 SDGs, or is this the first time you actually come across SDGs? Just say thumbs up if you already know about them. So the global goals for sustainable development, or SDGs, are 17 goals that were adopted globally by UN General. Almost 193 countries signed off adopting the 2030 development agenda. It was called in 2015. I was actually in New York when it was adopted. It was called Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. A small video that was actually played when this was launched. It's a very short one, so hope you will just take an idea of how many people were involved, how many countries, and how many celebrities were behind this agenda, not because of PR and marketing only, but also because this is an agenda for the whole world to promote sustainability and long-term prosperity. So let's go to the video.
We can be. We must be the 12th generation to end extreme poverty.
The generation
Most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
15-year plan.
But everyone, everywhere.
With no one left behind. We live in a world
where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty. Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one wakes in the morning asking if there will be food today. We will live in a world where no child has to die of
Diseases we know where to cure. And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for all.
School and education gives us the knowledge
And skills.
for a fulfilling life. We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities to thrive and be powerful and safe.
We cannot succeed without love. We will live in a world where all people can get clean water and proper toilets at home, at school, and work.
We will live in a world where there's
Sustainable energy for everyone, heat, light, and power for the whole planet.
without destroying the planet.
Economies prosper and new wealth
leads to decent jobs,
for everyone.
and we will live in a world where our industry,
our infrastructure, and our
Best innovations.
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
prejudices and extremes of inequality
are defeated
inside our countries,
And the extremely third countries.
where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
Going back quickly to the presentation, I hope you enjoyed the video. For me, it does bring a lot of memories from 2015 because we were so excited about these goals, and we really wanted to make a difference in this world. As an environmentalist, as a person who was advocating for most of the goals related to environment, we also understood and realized after years of green advocacy that if you don't connect those SDGs together, if you don't work on equality within renewable energy, within agriculture, within preservation of biodiversity, oceans, forests. You can't just deal with inequalities in separation from all the other goals. The integration between the different goals was very important for their success. Sadly, we're almost 6 years from 2030. And that's, what we talked about is the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Sadly, we are, we're so behind in achieving many of them. As you will see, this is from the recent report issued by the UN in 2024. They usually issue an annual report that says how much the world has made progress on each of the SDGs, the 17 ones. And sadly, all the red color means that we are actually in regression. It's not like we're not moving ahead. We're actually moving backward. And this is sad because all the advanced technologies, all the education, all the new innovations have not been utilized to advance sustainable development on this planet. Is there a room to leapfrog through AI? My answer is yes. And this is a decision that you, as a new generation, need to make. Technology is so powerful that certain technologies and companies are called disruptive. That's because they can change everything. And this change is only possible by minds and brains and hands and souls of the future generations like you. Technology has helped countries leapfrog without heavy investment in infrastructure. Examples in agriculture, e-agriculture, as it's called now, smart agriculture as well. The use of mobile phones, internet, computers, sensors, broadcasting, satellites, data analytics, they all have helped reduce inequalities, improve food security and agriculture systems. Africa achieved connectivity without investing in landlines. Now you will see that most of the rural areas in Africa, they do have access to mobile phones and mobile networks. That helped a lot in warning them against risks related to climate change, like droughts, like floods. These are, to us, they're probably taken for granted, but these applications for them are very important. They're like survival mode. Food delivery. Yes, how many of us actually take this for granted, especially post-COVID-19, right? So the food delivery market worth is more than $150 billion. And Canada, Australia, the US, and the UK are leading in this. Amazon and Alibaba empowered more than 15 million small and medium enterprises to set up businesses and to sell online. Transactions reached $1.2 trillion. Billion people empowered to make online payments. This was not possible a few years back. I think we all know that COVID-19 has just expedited all the transformation, the digital transformation that we were trying to achieve. This is a very interesting street vegetable shop in China that actually uses QR code, which is very interesting. So it is now accessible and being used by many people across the globe from different backgrounds. Cultural drones, that's another huge application that's really booming across the world. I know I'm from Jordan, I'm based in Amman. I know that we have a very interesting startup in Jordan that does a drone services, and they do the applications across sectors, including renewable energy, agriculture, as well as border security. 3D food printers. Come on, who has ever dreamed, it wasn't in my generation, at least when I was a teenager, that I would expect to eat something that comes out of a printer. And today, this might be a solution to hunger. And if you remember, one of the SDGs was actually about fighting hunger. There is an opportunity, right? We can all see that AI, technology, data, analytics, Internet of Things, ICT, these are all tools, enablers that create an opportunity for us to contribute positively to sustainable development. The global market potential for green technologies reached 10 billion maybe in 2020, but is expected to reach 75 billion by 2030, and even more. I think this is a very humble estimate. This picture actually is from an upskilling program that I helped establish in Jordan for women in agri-tech and food security, using hydroponic farming to reduce water consumption, climate-controlled environment within the greenhouse, and empowering female engineers to actually lead the transformation towards more climate-smart agriculture. And green jobs, these are on the rise. Like without competitors, LinkedIn issues a report about how the work changes globally, and their latest one was issued last January in 2025. And the number one job on the rise was artificial intelligence engineer in the Netherlands, in the UK, and the US. And they also measured the rise in green jobs. And, you know, green and AI and tech jobs or skills are really a marriage made in heaven, as they say. Imagine if you combine actually green and tech skills. I'm sure that you will find no difficulty in not only finding a job, but also in creating jobs for others and changing the world. So this is an example: Internet of Things, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, digital twin, cybersecurity, blockchain. They are all opportunities in green or sustainability markets. So this is where, well, it's not enough to just be an expert in AI, but it is about how do you apply AI in specific sectors. And in the green sectors, the green buildings is projected to be one of the most lucrative segments. So looking at the green buildings, the carbon footprint management for the construction sector, cities and sustainable cities is now very also appealing. Air and water pollution, crop monitoring, green cover monitoring, soil conditions, water purification, energy efficiency, and renewable energy. These are all very important and growing sectors in the future. And this is my favorite part of the presentation. So this is a startup that I mentored. It's called Algebra Intelligence. This is a Jordanian-based startup. And these are the two of them are the co-founders. So what they did, they deployed AI in energy, in renewable energy and energy efficiency. And this is actually from the Forbes list from last year, and they were listed as one of the top 50 startups in our part of the world. And I just feel so proud because I know how much they had to take in terms of difficulties, challenges. People don't understand the link between AI and energy, but eventually now they're expanding even in Saudi Arabia. Another favorite startup from Jordan, it's called Sager. Sager is a Jordanian drone startup. And they are doing applications, as I said, in renewable energy, solar energy, and agriculture, monitoring even wildfires, and a lot on tourism, border security and protection, and many other applications. Decapolis is the third Jordanian startup I wanted to mention. Decapolis is working on a food traceability platform and uses blockchain to actually contribute to that service. This was also impossible a few years back, but the founder was so persistent. And today, I think they're just expanding in the region, in the MENA region. So, AI for good. How can AI accelerate SDG progress, sustainability on this planet? It can help with improved decision-making through data-driven analysis and predictive modeling. It can improve monitoring, transparency, and accountability, which are very important for sustainability and for growth in general, for development in general. Automation of operational processes, especially in the private sector and industry, more customized solutions tailored for individual needs, faster delivery of social goods and aid to communities in need. And we shouldn't always picture the world as, you know, where we live. There are many areas in this world that are suffering from lack of humanitarian aid, from wars, from conflicts, from poor, conditions related to, being in shelters, in refugee camps, and so on. So how do we improve the way we deliver social services, social goods to those people in need? But all of these beautiful contributions from AI need to be also accompanied by certain enablers, or if you wish, prerequisites. One is addressing the gap in connectivity and access. So we can't assume that everybody has access to the same quality of connections, internet, ICT infrastructure, communication, and even knowledge, know-how to use all of this. Empowering local communities, it should be driven by local communities, and we have to make everybody count in the process of change. We can't just give them devices and say we have helped. So how do we also empower local communities, regardless of where they are? Strengthening confidence, trust, and transparency. And this needs a lot of policy work, a lot of governance work. And that's something we should all understand and advocate for through different civil society organizations or organizations like Teens in AI. This is something we do in Jordan through the Jordan Green Building Council. We have to advocate for better transparency, more trust, more confidence in policies and regulations, and also protection of privacy and of private information. I think we need to build the trust of the normal, ordinary people in this tech body. Create a strong enabling environment. So upskilling is one thing. How do we make the graduates with all these beautiful certificates from nice universities actually match the needed market skills for transformation? Whether it's the green transition or the tech transition, we need to think of what do we need. The other thing is infrastructure, awareness raising, and behavioral change. Behavioral change when it comes to tech and digitalization. We also have behavioral change in relation to sustainability, green consumption, and so on. So we need to work a lot on creative awareness raising and behavioral change. Building alliances is very, very important. Nobody can do it alone. And today, I think we need those cross-boundary, trans-boundary sorts of alliances more than ever. So this is a call for those working on sustainability, whether it's, the social equity, inclusion piece, or the green energy, water, environment piece, to work closely with the AI, with the ICT experts, and the tech gurus to make a difference. We can't do it by working alone. AI ethics is something I think Patricia, our next speaker, will be maybe diving deeper into, but I wanted to mention that AI can actually hinder SDG progress. And we can easily get into the issue of reinforcing inequalities through data bias. A lot of I think arguments are now being raised around, does automation really threaten jobs? Like, can people be replaced by machines? And the issue of transparency and privacy, as I said, affects trust. So if we don't really pay attention to avoid amplifying inequalities, we can fall into the trap of AI being just mirroring the inequalities that already exist. So because it will feed on the existing data, it will feed on the existing inequalities. So we have to start fresh, and we have to be very conscious about those things. So recognizing the growing evidence of algorithmic bias, the risks of deep fake misinformation, and the fact that AI could act as a driver for further political polarization and exacerbates inequalities is very important. We need to hold up a new mirror, as I said, rather than replicating the existing inequalities embedded in our training data and the processes of how we weight and reward and prioritize. We have to start fresh, and we have to use we have to design an AI ethical framework. I think there are many countries, including the UK, that are thinking of that. I know Jordan also has developed a policy guidance on that. But I think globally, we have to know that this is not just a high-level policy. This is something practitioners, tech people, and communities need to understand. And we have to remain vigilant against the negative impacts of AI and ensure its positive use. And remember, sustainability should leave no one behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your inspiring presentation. Your insights and expertise have truly enriched our understanding of this crucial topic. Now, we invite you to engage with Ruba by opening the floor for questions. Let's make the most out of this opportunity to delve deeper in the discussion surrounding sustainability and gender equality and its impact on our society. Before we move on to the Q&A, I would like to ask you a personal question, Ruba. What was the most memorable project you have worked on, and why do you think that it was the most memorable?
I think there are many memorable moments in my career as an environmentalist. But I think one of the most rewarding ones was when we, as civil society organizations, lobbied together and stood out, sent actually a petition to the King of Jordan, worked with the parliamentarians, with the government, to stop an amendment to an agriculture law that was going to allow investors to change the land use from forests, which are protected, to agriculture so that they can invest in. Jordan doesn't have a lot of forests. We have less than 2-3% of our area as forests, and they are very unique and endangered. So that was a moment where we could actually demonstrate that advocacy, proper advocacy, using the right tools, the right information, could actually, achieve something. But more recently, I think one of the key achievements that I'm so proud of is that after over 20-30 years of working to integrate environment into Jordan's economic development, we finally managed to have green economy as one of our key economic growth sectors. So today, youth in Jordan see an opportunity in this new economic development opportunity, and happy to share more information with others as well.
Thank you so much for your answer and sharing your inspirational work. I would like to go to Q&A chat, and please, for the participants, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask to Ruba in this time frame. So one of the questions is that if the world is backward on its goals, what are the ways to keep them back on track?
That is a very big question, very good one, thank you. The world needs to work together. So SDG 17, which is about partnerships, needs to be SDG 1. So we can't work in separation. And, those countries who pollute more, contribute more to greenhouse gas emissions, are probably suffering less when it comes to poverty, hunger, and so on, while countries that are not oil and gas countries, they don't have fossil fuel, they're not industrialized countries, are suffering the most because of the vulnerability of their economy and societies. So unless we come together and see through each other's lens that, my human colleague or brother or sister is not in a privileged situation like myself, we will not be able to achieve anything. And this should come from people, but also from governments, from private sector, from companies. So we need to change the way we perceive sustainability and SDGs as an elitist thing. We have to go down to the bottom line, where it is about people, it is about humans, and sometimes it's really about basic needs and basic services.
Thank you for highlighting collective action when it comes to this issue. There's another question that from our participants, which is, in the region affected by the digital divide, what factors influence the accessibility of digital technologies, and how can their adoption be improved?
About a specific region, or is this a general one?
It's a general one that is digital divide.
So yes, so I think one of the key important factors today is that education is now key to every other sort of SDG. So if we have quality education, if we have equal access to services, to infrastructure, to computers, to laptops, to mobile phones. I remember when COVID-19 and the lockdown was there, everybody switched suddenly to online. And there were many villages in Jordan, many children, many households who either didn't have internet access or a laptop and so on. But there were families with more than one kid who actually had only one device at home, and they had to actually share and in a row to do their homework or to do their assignments. So it is really about the context, and it is really about access to services and to infrastructure and to technology. To an extent, donors and development partners play a role in that, because in most developing countries, they get support, they get funds through donations in order to upgrade their digital infrastructure and services. Nevertheless, I think the private sector is key, and we have to develop sustainable economic models, and private companies need to switch from corporate social responsibility, CSR, towards more partnership with the community, towards more innovation in how we support local development. And I think we have a lot of good examples from telecom companies adopting that as part of their CSR strategies. So I believe the private sector needs to play a role to bridge that gap, and governments needs to have a better relationship and a better model on how they partner with the private sector to do that.
Thank you so much for your answer. Yes, our participants are engaging more, and they're basically asking since AI has a negative impact on people's jobs, what would you advise companies pushing the drive of replacing humans? Is it better to rather reduce the use of AI?
Not at all. I think we just need to be conscious about how we plan our transition and our use of AI. As I said, AI is not a standalone just solution. It is about how you use it, the applications it is used for. So I believe that each country has a niche human capital that is good in some ways. So that niche, let's say, a human capital in the society need to be educated and upskilled on how to use AI. We need to help in the job transition, if you wish, rather than, okay, so you're obsolete now, go home and we're going to hire AI people. I think there is this intermediate phase where we need to also help them upgrade their skills and get into the market. For women in particular, I think working from home, doing business process outsourcing, letting them even work remotely, it's even more important for them to be equipped with the right skills to be within the market.
Thank you, Ruba, for your talk and your dedication of advancing gender equality and sustainability. We're grateful for your time and commitment. I would like to also have a special thanks to make this week come true to Sage and Red Hat for their contributions as our sponsors for this evening.